Artie talked about if therapy is helping or hurting him and basically said that he's slowly withdrawing from life. But first, the featured guest on the show today was Norm Macdonald, and Norm's always great in the studio, Gare.
I love Norm. Norm's one of my favorite funny comedians, and here he comes walking in now wearing a Green Bay Packers hat. Norm said something I never thought I'd heard him say.
Which is?
I guess I'm a Jet fan now.
Oh,
he loves Favre.
I got to get a new hat.
You're following Favre to the Jets, huh?
I'm following Favre to the gates of hell.
I just got a Favre Jet fat head. You know, that should be good for a season.
God, it's going to be the worst season of all time.
Well, they're only 1-2. They got a good shot of beating Arizona this week.
Yeah.
It'll be 2-2.
I think they'll win 4 games.
Oh, come on, Norm, please. I beg of you. Do you really think they'll only win 4 games?
Yeah.
Favre does look like he's having a little difficulty learning the offense, huh?
Yeah, my lord. It's sad, but...
Norm, I have a meeting. I'll see you. I'll see you later. Is this on?
I got to get my cans on, man.
Put your cans on.
It's on.
Oh, these cans are hot.
Then you see the button there right in the middle?
Yeah.
Hello? Is this on?
Yes.
It is? Sorry.
How are your cans? These cans are hotter than Lonnie Andrews. I don't know how yours
Yeah, that
are.
would have been a great line if it were 73.
I know. Norm's like 68 years old.
I'm sorry.
This is
Mamie Van Doren.
Norm, how old are you?
68. 68 years young.
Maybe. I love when Bob Hope used to say that. I'm 79 years young.
Yeah, how's that work? 110 years young.
I got to return a rental car.
Hey, a guy from Jersey just died that was 110. Did you hear about that?
No?
No, who? I had an uncle. I haven't heard from him. He was 109.
Couldn't be the same.
It's not the same, yeah.
Yeah, it's 110.
You could say that bookie's name on this show. Nobody listens.
No, I don't want. He might be, he might have changed his ways.
No, listen, he still owes me the 50.
We're still confused about who had the over and who had the under on that.
No, he was right. It was the lowest scoring game ever. So Norm won because he bet the over. I bet the under.
I got to tell you, I was reading one of the chapters to Artie's book last night. I don't want to give anything away, but it was one of your gambling chapters. And I thought I'd heard every one of your stories, and I hadn't. It was the one about the hockey bets, and I'm just not going to get into because I don't know if
I told that story on the air, you know.
I don't remember, but I could not stop laughing my ass off. Artie and his friends found a bookie who didn't realize that every Wednesday there was a day hockey game.
Norm, did I ever tell you that story?
They didn't realize every Wednesday there was the guy just didn't know hockey. He was like, he followed.
I didn't know there was a day hockey.
What he did was, what happened was, I was...
Oh, you past posted, Kelly?
Yeah, that's exactly what we were doing. We were past posting. How?
So the guys would watch the Wednesday game and put a bet in with this guy, and they would win.
You'd call the bets in at 7, So the guy was just like, the guy figured that, all the hockey, he would look at the scores on Thursday morning and just go, who won and won. And he didn't know that they called in the bets at 7 after one game had happened. But they were fucking morons. They were morons because they had a good thing going, but they would usually bet like $50. So on this one game every Wednesday, they would bet like 100-time parlays. They would parlay like the over and the team. And so finally, after 3 weeks, they beat the guy for like $1,200, and he goes, what's going on here? And he looks at the paper, and he finds out they've been betting on a game that already happened. So the funny part is, though, my buddy who was the middleman for the bookie says to me, look, you got to come with me because the middleman says the actual bookie, this guy from Staten Island, is going to be there, and he's really mad. He wants to scream at you. So
why would you agree to go to that meeting?
Well, I went with the kid because I don't know.
Oh, you did it too?
No.
That's the funniest part. Artie's friend did it, but this guy decided that everyone associated with him wasn't getting paid, and everyone was going to get punished and yelled at.
The bookie, everybody who bet through this middleman was not going to get paid because of these two assholes. And he goes, and I want to see you. The bookie's name was Bobo. He's not around anymore. I don't know. But one day the phone just didn't. No one answered the phone. Probably part of a raid. But that was like 10 years ago. So my buddy was afraid to go by himself, so I went to meet the bookie with him, and we went to the Macdonald's on the Parkway in Union, where I grew up, and that's where he met the guy every week. And we saw the bookie sitting in the corner. He was like a balding guy, like big tattoos and shit. and he starts screaming at us. We sit down, and he's got like a wad of money in his hand. He goes, "Let me fucking tell you something. You never fucking treat me like this. This is bullshit. I want respect from you guys, and you tell those fucking little faggots that if I ever find out they're ripping me off again, I'm going to kill them. I'm going to kill their parents when they have kids. I'm going to kill their fucking kids. I'm going to kill you guys." He's threatening to kill everybody, and he's getting real violent. Me and my buddy noticed at the same time, while he's screaming at us, it was Ash Wednesday, and he had an enormous ash. He had an enormous ash on his head. He had just gone to church, I guess. It was one of those ashes that was like in your space, like it was so big. And we both noticed it at the same time, so we put our heads down and we couldn't stop laughing. And we were like, figuring, like the bookie's wife, like saying, like, "Listen, before you go kill that guy's kids, get your ashes." But you know, if they, you know, you always got to play it cool. You know, they should have just kept betting $50.
I just love. I guess I forgot this part of the story where guys were betting on games that already happened. That's a dangerous game, huh?
You want to hear his Robert Shaw again?
Yeah.
You're past posting, aren't you, Kelly? How?
Was that the Sting?
That's the Sting.
How about Danny Wilson at the Continental?
Me and Norm.
Are we doing Frank Sinatra movies now?
I shouldn't say his name.
Yeah, you should say his name.
Oh, I thought
whatever
Danny
happened
Wilson.
Whatever happened to him?
He's doing well.
Is he?
No, Danny's the greatest, man.
No, he is.
He's the greatest guy.
This guy, after Norm would do Weekend Update sometimes on live TV, he'd say, "Danny Wilson, 17th floor," and that meant that this crazy kid who worked for Saturday Night Live, what did he do?
I would say it on the air.
Yeah, I know.
It's so retarded.
And what did it mean?
He would go meet this kid. Yeah, the kid had a bit of a gambling issue.
Yeah.
And we found out.
So one day he vanished.
No, Norm hired him to be his assistant.
Vanished.
Oh, no, that's not the one I'm talking about. I'm talking about when we went to Atlantic City to find him.
Right. The kid vanishes, right? So Norm calls me up and said, "Hey, that Danny's vanished." And we're going to go check.
His family was worried.
Yeah. You know? His father was Dave Wilson, right?
Well, we don't want to say who he is, remember?
It's a common name.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it could be any Danny Wilson.
Could be any name.
Yeah,
Any
I was
guy.
thinking of Meet Danny Wilson from Frank Sinatra movies.
But he's a fantastic guy.
Yeah.
Danny Wilson. But he vanished.
He vanished, and we had
Did
to
he
go.
ever turn up?
Well, we went to find him, Artie and I.
Yeah, we had to
So
go
I'll
look
tell the
for him.
first part. We went to find him, and we found him in a little tiny. We tracked him down in a little tiny hotel called the Continental, and we asked the guy at the front desk if we could get into the room because we were knocking on the door and everything, and he wouldn't answer.
3 a.m.
We had 3 a.m. We thought maybe he was dead or something. You know, we were banging as hard as we could, and we said we'll just wait until he gets up. You know, and so the guy was kind of suspicious, the front desk guy, because it's Atlantic City and we're trying to get into this guy's room and stuff like that. So we went to the lounge of the hotel, which was called Babes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, babe.
And it was just empty. It was just me and Artie and the bartender. And then Artie can tell the rest.
Well, I don't know if it were, so it's just we tried to get into this room, and you know, looking really suspicious. So we go sit at this bar, and it's just me, Norm, and the guy. The phone the phone rings, and the bartender picks up the phone right next to us, and he goes, "Yeah," and he goes, "Babes." He goes, "Yeah." Uh-huh. And he looks at us, he goes, "Oh yeah." Yeah, oh yeah, right. 2 of them, right? Yeah. All right. And he hangs up the phone. He looks right at us, and he turns around and he starts whistling like. So now we think he's like arranging a hit or something. Finally, we find the kid's car in the fucking parking lot, and we go up to the room, and we thought it was going to be like a freaky scene, like he was going to hanging from a leather chain or something. And he played craps. He could win. If he played craps long enough, he could always win money because he had some sort of crazy system.
Right.
And so he was making like $500 a week. Oh no, that's why he was there. You're forgetting. He owed 16 grand.
Yeah, he owed money.
The same bookie who disappeared on me.
Yeah.
He owed 16 grand.
He was trying to get it back.
Right. So I said, well, technically you owe Norm the money because I gave him my 9 grand, and we went. He was afraid the kid was going to kill him. So we went down and said, no, that kid disappeared. There's no bookies. And it's a long story, man. I don't know.
I don't know. You guys are involved in some weird shit.
No,
Man.
it was like a dark thing.
I know that you like to play poker and used to do. I heard you used to play like in the sort of underground scene in New York. Somebody once told me that the movie Rounders was somehow based on you to some small degree. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, the Matt Damon genius character.
Well, I guess just the fact that did you ever go into those, you know...
What was your thing? Goodwill Smith? How'd that one go?
I was just, it's, you know... It's,
on Mad TV, they would often,
like parodies.
Combine two things.
I pitched a thing called
Goodwill Smith.
Goodwill Smith. And he worked at an all-black college, and, you know, the problem on the blackboard that no one could solve was 2 + 2. Then Will Smith plays a janitor who puts a 4, and they go, who solved Bill? It took the professors 8 years to figure this one out. They rejected it. They said it was like racist.
They did.
Yeah.
Those politically correct idiots.
They rejected that and Tori Amos and Andy, which was a biggie that I was.
Tori Amos, how are you going to fit her into that one?
I don't know. I just sing
was she singing songs about getting raped with a black guy?
Just sing one of her songs like, you know, hello there.
Well, you know, her biggest hit was a song about being raped.
Oh, what?
Yeah, the song called Silent All These Years.
I didn't even know that. It makes it even better. At Mad TV, you would blurt out awful puns, and then they would, like, as a joke. Me and this kid, David Herman, used to do that. Like, at pitch meetings, we would yell out shit as a fucking joke, and they would go, hey, that's good. And, like, 2 weeks later, we'd be in makeup filming this thing. One time, we were trying to do a Dead Man Walking, because Susan Sarandon, for some ridiculous reason, agreed to be on the show. So we were trying to do a Dead Man Walking parody. And so they're yelling out all this shit like, you know, some man walking. And I, as a joke, in the back of the fucking room, I yelled out Ed McMahon walking as a complete joke. And 2 hours later, I get a call. I had to get fit prosthetics for Ed McMahon masks. And we shot the worst sketch ever. And I had to play Ed McMahon. And Ed McMahon walking. They just crowbarred Ed McMahon into Dead Man Walking. And Susan Sarandon's there wanting to leave. It was terrible.
Well, it sounds like all you guys would do is come up with those puns because you did Rush Limbaugh, right?
Well, that was another one I wanted to do.
I thought you guys did it.
No, we never did that.
You didn't do Rush Limbaugh?
They didn't think enough people would know. They didn't think enough kids would know Rush, the band. Right. I wanted to do Rush. Did I ever tell you that? Yeah. Rush Limbaugh singing the group Rush.
Oh, Rush.
Yeah.
Oh, you could do that, too.
And I was like, today's Tom Sawyer, he gets high on you. If the space he invades, he gets by on you. Living in the limelight, ye.
It's a good Rush, huh?
Thanks, man.
And Norm, did you think sorry.
That's all right.
Did you think Howard was going to bring up that chat you had with Corolla, and how'd you think
No, you know what happened is people I don't get out a lot, but people were like saying, "Hey man, how's that Howard thing going to be next week?" And I was like, "I think it'll be fun and stuff." And I go, I don't know, but I don't know what they were referring to.
Do you have Sirius?
No one warned me.
Well, do you have Sirius?
No, I don't have Sirius. No.
Well, we'll get it for you, but
you'll get it for me?
Yeah, we'll get it for you.
What, for free?
Yeah,
I don't have a car.
You could listen to your house. You could listen on your computer. You can get.
I'd like to listen to it on my computer.
That's easy.
There's a portable one that gets every third hour.
That was Chris Rock was funny yesterday. He was talking about, I don't know, a cloud comes by, you can't hear it. But yeah, we'll hook you up with it.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
All right, let's take a couple calls.
But, maybe I would have been worried if I didn't know. So maybe it's good.
No, you handled it great.
Maybe it's good.
You did. You just went, I'm sorry.
You couldn't tell if he's sarcastic or not, right?
Chris in Pennsylvania, you're on the wrap-up show.
Hugh Fink used to do this joke. You go, wait, hold on. Hugh Fink used to do this joke about Chinese waiters. You go, I never know if they're being sarcastic or not. Like, he goes, like, I go in, I go, are these chicken balls, are they sweet? No, they sour.
Chris, you're on the wrap-up show.
Hey, fellas, how you doing, man?
Good.
Listen, I just wanted to see if you guys kind of agreed, especially Artie, because we're the same age and been listening about the same amount of time. Do you think that we're witnessing, like, the pussification of Howard Stern?
And how is he becoming a pussy?
Well, I mean, the one main reason is the serious 180 that he did with saying he was never going to get married again. Because, I mean, it wasn't like he wasn't incredibly adamant about the fact that he wasn't going to get married, and the only reason to get married was if you were going to have children, and if that wasn't going to happen, what the hell's the sense of it? And now it's like he's doing everything he said he would never do.
Well, besides getting married, what else is he doing that he said he would never do?
Well, I mean, he's lied to us a couple of times as listeners, which he said he would never do.
Well, like how?
I'm going to tell you, I got three good examples of him lying. Right. Number one, of course, is the wedding.
Okay.
Number two is within the first 3 months of him coming on Sirius, he made sure that we knew as listeners, look, don't get worried. I'm not going to be out every single Friday. I promise. You'll have Gary and John some days, and we'll fit this in here, and we'll fit that in there, but I'll be in. Don't worry. So that was bullshit. Then he lied to us about his actual nights out on the town. The stories he was telling us, Artie, I heard the same things you heard, and that day where he said, no, I never brought chicks home, and my head totally turned to look at the real. I was like, you're fucking lying. He fucking straight out lied.
Well, I don't know.
Listen, I'll start with the marriage one.
I mean, Norm can comment on this. Norm?
Well, I don't think, and everybody says they don't want to get fucking married until they get married.
Right, I said yesterday, we were talking about this, and I said, have you ever met a person who, right after they get divorced, said, oh, good, I'm divorced. I think I want to get married again as soon as possible. It's a process, you know?
Well, ladies do.
Yes, they do. Yeah. But guys are like, it's a process. So when he said he didn't want to get married, I don't think he was lying. I think he genuinely meant it.
This guy, he's been on for 30 years, dude. I mean, you're going to contradict yourself. It's just that you grow as a person. You know, you meet different people. You know, I said, you know, if I was on the air 20 years ago, I'd have said different shit than I believe now, too. You know,
no, Clay Aiken, when he was 4 years old, I never sucked cock.
Right. All of a sudden.
Of course.
What happened? All of a sudden, he's sucking a cock.
All of a sudden, a delicious cock shows up. What if a cock was like the tastiest thing ever, but you didn't know until you're like, oh, now I understand.
Norm, did you?
I'm not gay. I just have a sweet tooth.
Norm, did you notice a change in Howard now that he's getting married at all?
I'm not gay. I just love lemon meringue.
Yeah.
What?
Did you notice a change in Howard since the last time you saw him?
I thought he looked real good. You know.
I wish.
Are you saying what the guy was saying?
Yeah. I mean, do you notice? I mean.
I mean, people grow up and stuff, and he's in love. So I don't know if a guy's in love, if he's a pussy. I don't know.
I wish I had a dime for every time Norm called Howard a pussy.
Well, one time
I'd have no dime.
Speaking of this, but one time I was watching Merv Griffin. What are you doing, man? Some radio fucking signal?
They do that all the time.
We got signs.
One time I saw on Merv Griffin.
You're not supposed to say
there was this what?
No, I'm just kidding.
No. There was this old actor named Broderick Crawford.
Oh, yeah.
You remember him? So he was, he fucking was so funny. But he was talking to Merv Griffin. Merv Griffin says to him, he goes, you've worked with a lot of leading ladies, you know. Legs Grable, you know. And so then Broderick Crawford goes, let me tell you about Grable. She was all class. We'd order a meal, and she'd always get a salad that was in Jell-O. That was his big story. Then Merv Griffin goes, you played a cop a lot in your career. And he goes, I'll tell you something, Merv. He goes, just the way he did it was so funny. He goes, if I had a dime for every time I played a cop, I'd have $1. It's just like Peter.
That's a great Broderick Crawford.
That is a very good Broderick Crawford.
Anyone under 80 out there.
Yeah, that's Matthew Broderick's father, right?
That was like we worked with we did stand up with Gilbert, and he was just like bombing. So at the end he goes, "All right," they're all like 22-year-old kids who don't understand. And at the end he goes, "Okay, you kids are clearly young, and I'm gonna do an impression that all you kids you'll really appreciate it. Here's Lou Costello. Here's Lou Costello talking to Ethel Merman."
You know what? Remember that show we did out in L.A., Artie?
That's what I'm talking about.
He comes on, everyone in the audience is 22 years old, and he goes, this is before the remake. He goes, you know what movie I like? Planet of the Apes. They're like, what? Just making bizarre Roddy McDowell, Planet of the Apes.
He ended by singing, what's the Jerry Lewis song?
You'll Never Walk
Alone. People were hitting him with shit.
That sounds great.
Yeah, man.
He actually finished with The Aristocrats before the movie had come out, and people were just not getting it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, listen, who got the movie?
What the fuck kind of whatever?
It was stupid.
Were you in the movie?
They came to me, and I said, I never heard anybody tell that fucking joke. What the fuck? It makes us comics look like a bunch of fags that go backstage, go, oh, here it is, oh, he's dirty, or, you know, what the fuck? It didn't make any sense at all, that movie, to me. Have you ever heard anyone...
It makes every comic seem like sagging.
Yeah.
No, I never heard someone tell that joke before. I didn't think it was necessary, and the movie was horrible.
I never saw the movie. I never saw it.
It's a bunch of people telling that joke.
The only thing I know about the movie is that Jackie's in the movie talking about the joke, and if you look behind Jackie, there's Jackie mugs, bumper stickers, T-shirts, like Jackie shit tacked up all over the wall.
That's the joke.
Dave in Jersey, you're on the wrap-up show.
Hey, could you guys do some more on the Sting and some older references? Because, I'm not getting enough of that stuff.
I had you know what?
Sting?
I memorized enough.
The
Sting.
I memorized something else.
The Sting is an old reference?
No, he said
No, you really are 68, aren't you?
No, the movie.
No, well, you know, there's DVDs, you know.
The movie is from 1973.
Yeah, okay. Do you know who Abraham Lincoln is?
You heard the Titanic sung. No, but the Sting. Are you saying you want to hear more? Because I know the whole fucking thing.
That's all right. Thanks.
No,
I had a question for Norm. Norm, what's the relationship like with your son, and how long have you been single now?
I've been single for 14 years, and my relationship with my son is perfect.
How often do you see him?
I have him 3 days a week, and my wife has him 4 days a week, my ex-wife.
That's pretty cool. I'm a single dad with 2 daughters, and I have split custody as well, and I was just wondering how it all worked out, and I don't want to get all personal on you, but just you seem fairly well adjusted, and any insights would be welcome to hear.
Well, I'm not real well. I mean, my son keeps me well adjusted the most, but like I never wanted to have every second weekend kind of bullshit. I wanted to have him half the time. So right. He's the guy that keeps me grounded and stuff.
One time when when I had my condo and I was doing the Norm show, Norm's kid came over to my place, and he was probably about 5 years old, and we were in my kitchen, and my entire refrigerator was black and white cookies.
Black and white cookies.
I just thought he was in heaven.
My mother mailed me all these black and white cookies, so that's all I had, like 20 black and white cookies and ketchup. That was all that was in the refrigerator. And Norm's kid looked at it and he went, Daddy, Artie's refrigerator is all cookies.
Even he knew it was wrong. You know, John and I were talking.
It's a sarcastic little kid.
John and I were talking earlier. So his parents so do you do the voice on Fairly Odd Parents? Is that you that does that?
Yeah, I did that.
Because I wasn't sure.
I did that because this is what the problem is with having a kid. You do a fucking thing so your kid will see it. By the time the thing comes out, your kid hates the fucking show. Look, I'm at the Fairly Odd Parents. Like, what are you, a fan?
For those of you who don't have kids, it's a pretty popular cartoon on Nickelodeon.
Yeah, Norm plays a genie.
Norm the genie. Gilbert's on that one.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And every time I watch it, I go, I think that's Norm, but then I was afraid...
Somebody else did it again.
Right, I was afraid they went out and got like a fake Norm.
Yeah, they didn't sound like... I did this movie called Dr. Dolittle.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember.
So then they did a sequel, so I was like, I feel like doing it. They go, well, we'll get a sound-alike. And I was like, well, what? Like, you're going to get some guy that sounds like me, and then people will think it's me, and maybe the guy will be no good. So I had to do it. And anyways, I think I did about 6 of them. Eddie Murphy quit after 2.
Right. Yeah, didn't Dr. Dolittle came out at one point? The Norm Show, they had this idea where like celebrities would do the first 3 minutes of the show. Richard Pryor's last appearance ever on TV had to be the Norm Show, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
saddest thing.
It really was the saddest thing.
What, they would just happen to stop by, that kind of thing?
Yeah, well, like
how do you work Richard Pryor into the script?
The cold open of the show would be like a celebrity, and they'd work him into it, you know.
But were they as a celebrity, or?
No. It could be a character.
So what was
Dennis Miller played some crazy ticket scalper.
Right.
But
so what did Richard Pryor in a wheelchair play?
It was the nuttiest thing because the people said, like his wife who was running his life at the time said, oh, he's fine. He'll be able to say his lines and everything. And he shows up. He gets like a standing ovation. The whole crew just gets up and, you know. But he couldn't. Just like in the wheelchair, he can't say anything. And they had a body double who was like an acrobat. And it had to be cut together where at one point it looked like Richard Pryor jumped out of his wheelchair and jumped onto Norm because he was... Yes. And it was this worst cut. It's just this little Al Reynolds looking black guy like jumps onto Norm's back. It's clearly not Richard Pryor. Right. But after you did Dr. Dolittle, didn't they make made you call Eddie Murphy? God. And I was in his office while he's talking to Eddie Murphy.
Worst thing ever.
To say what?
Well, because they wanted to get guests. Like to.
Oh, you had to call Eddie Murphy. Hey, come on my show.
Yeah, so I said, I don't know. I don't want to call him or anything. And then all of a sudden it's like, Eddie Murphy's on. They called him, you know. Eddie Murphy's on the phone. So then I'm like, and they'd written this complete shit for him, you know. And so then he said, I'll do it if it's funny. And I decided not to send it to him.
He said, send that shit to me. If it's funny. Well, didn't he say the Red Fox on the set of Harlem Nights? And, like, because you put him on... Norm put him on speakerphone, and I was sitting in there, and he didn't know I was on the call. But what was great about that was how he was calm, like he's very zen and calm, and then when he wants to be funny... He's like insanely funny. Right, because listen to him tell a story. He's doing it's Red Fox in the story, and when he gets to Red Fox, he just does a brilliant Red Fox. But the rest of it, so he said on the set of Harlem Nights, that's when Red Fox was going through all that tax shit.
Oh, I remember.
And so Eddie Murphy said, he goes, yeah, Red Fox was an annoying motherfucker. And he said he tried to sell me a watch. On the set. He said he tried to sell me Elvis's watch. He came up to me and said, see, this is Elvis's watch. Elvis gave me this watch. This is Elvis's watch. So I want to sell it to you. Like, how much would you give me for it? Anyway, we said, Elvis gave you the watch. He goes, yeah, so it's your watch. It ain't Elvis's watch. Yeah, I go, well, come on, give me something for this, man. They're taking my home. They're taking everything.
Well, all I remember when that whole thing was going on was that he would be the lead story at Entertainment Tonight, sitting on his front lawn. And because he was working with Eddie Murphy, and Eddie Murphy was the guy he knew with the most money, he would go, come on, Eddie Murphy, help me out.
Yeah.
And he was like telling the whole world.
To the camera?
Yeah, he was told the whole world that Eddie Murphy should bail him out.
And James Brown told Eddie Murphy, you think you got $1 million? You ain't got $1 million. Black man never has $1 million. You go bury that money in the woods. I bury my money in the woods. And Eddie Murphy's like, I just see James Brown and all his entourage digging up money in woods outside of Atlanta, like all dirt on their face. Yeah. But the greatest Red Fox story ever, Bob Einstein, Super Dave, he did the show. And he was the director or the producer of Red Fox's variety show after Sanford and Son. So Red Fox would always be late to come out and do his monologue. Like, the audience is waiting there. So it was always Bob Einstein's job to go get him. So he goes back into the dressing room, and he's knocking. He goes, Red, you're on, man, you're on. And nothing happens, and the door swings open. Red Fox, he looks over. Red Fox has got there's a whore in there, and Red Fox has his head under the whore's skirt, and he's got his face buried in her ass, and there's lines of coke all over the fucking table. And Einstein goes, Red, are you done? Because you got to do this. You're late. And he said Red Fox took his face out of the chick's ass and goes, can a fella relax? That's his idea of relax. There's lines of blow all over the place. Can a fella relax?
You got to get Super Dave on the show.
Yeah, he's funny.
I used to watch him, but I thought he was more of a funny writer. Is he a funny guy to interview?
He's hysterical.
He's on Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
He has the funniest story.
That's Albert Brooks' brother, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was telling me a story last week about, he said one time he was watching Mike Douglas show, and Sly Stone was on the show because they had he had co-hosts.
Google Sly Stone and Mike Douglas out there.
And the other guest was Peter Marshall, the host of Hollywood Squares.
Peter Lecoq.
Yeah, exactly, Peter Lecoq. So he's interviewing Sly Stallone and everything, and then he's interviewing affable Peter Marshall, and he says to Peter Marshall, I'll say it in Bob Einstein's voice. He goes, so he says to Peter Marshall, he says, so you're doing because that week they were doing it in Vegas. They were doing Hollywood Squares in Vegas. So Mike Douglas says, are you going to change the show at all for Vegas? Are you going to do anything? Are you going to have showgirls or anything? And Peter Marshall goes, no, we're going to just do the show as it is. We do it as it is. We like to be, and so he asked about Paul Lynde and how funny Paul Lynde was. And Peter Marshall said, Paul Lynde is funny because Paul Lynde will just say anything. He'll call a spade a spade. And then Sly Stone said, I'm going to get you. And then they went to commercial.
Sly Stone is a black guy.
Right, not Sly Stallone. Sly and the Family Stone. I know it's... Oh, my God. See, I understood all those references.
You guys are underestimating your demographic.
Ralph Sorella, you're on the wrap-up show.
I thought you meant Sylvester Stallone, too. No, Artie told me this great story once back when Norm used to be a degenerate gambler, and they were after one of those, those after-hours places you were talking about, Gary?
Yes.
Those guys were in there, and it was like 6 in the morning. Even Artie was sick of the place, and he's like wiped out.
No, I had lost a bunch of money playing Hold'em.
That's why you were sick of it.
And I started shooting pool. They had a pool table, and we were doing the show the next morning, and we gambled till like 7 a.m., and then we just came right in here.
But did you tell me, too, you turned to Norm at some point, like you were going to, oh, God, this is horrible, and you turned to Norm to say, let's leave, and Norm goes, hey, this is great, isn't it?
Well, that's always the problem with two gamblers.
Well, it's also, right, it's like two guys go to a bar, one guy picks up a hot chick, and the other guy's got the ugly one.
Right, exactly.
Isn't this great? No.
Or he's not hooking up, and you just want to leave.
But that was when Norm said the name of the place on the air. Remember you said the name of the place?
I know the name, yeah.
And the guy called up Norm, who runs the place, and said, hey, Norm, we don't need any fucking advertising.
Yeah, that scared the shit out of me.
No, Norm, you found Artie because you saw Artie on Mad TV, right? That's how you ended up calling. Did you have any idea when you saw him on Mad TV?
I saw him doing a monologue about masturbation, I think. Do you remember that monologue?
I wrote a monologue for the pilot of Mad TV about...
Was that the pilot?
It was the pilot.
But did you have any idea? So you said you think this guy's funny, he'll be funny for my movie, and then this guy shows up and he's like... He likes to gamble and drink. I mean, how fucking great is that? If you hire him as talent, he ends up being as much fun, off camera as he on camera.
Well, it was fantastic. I mean, it was great.
You know what my agent said to me about that movie? They said it's between you and Stephen Baldwin.
That's right, because that guy loved Stephen Baldwin.
Yeah,
that Greg guy.
And then what were you going to do, Encino Man?
I don't know. Well, I said between
Biodome.
I said I don't see Stephen Baldwin at a lot of auditions.
Yeah, exactly right.
But I guess Chris Penn had said no. They offered it to Chris Penn,
right.
And so he was a fat guy.
Who were weird actors.
And then I guess didn't Kevin James audition for it or something?
Kevin James auditioned, yeah.
Yeah.
How much time was between your legal troubles with Mad TV and the movie?
I got arrested in November of 96, and I got the movie in July of 97.
Yeah, I was just telling him, I had some guy doing work at my house yesterday. He's a big fan of the show, and he was asking me about Artie.
I did not know that. I did not know it was that fast.
Well, Artie was saying that it was like you were ready to take a job driving a cab, right?
Well, I was going to start doing shitty road gigs again with this old booker that I used to work with in Jersey that booked, like, not clubs, like Bennigan's that would have a comedy night. I was going to start doing that and spots in the city, which didn't pay anything, but I was going to have to, I was like literally days away from calling the cab guy and start driving a cab again.
That was pretty close. So you cleaned up pretty fast.
I went to rehab. The last time I did coke, it was June the 14th, 1997, so about a month before I got the movie. And they make you remember your date, so I remember that date. And I tried to buy coke the fucking night I got the movie. It was so bad. But
that makes sense, though.
Hey, we gotta take a break. Unfortunately, I love hearing Artie tell us stories.
All right, Teddy, let's take a break. Norm,
can a fella relax?
You gonna be at Caroline's when?
Tonight.
Tonight. Norm Macdonald.
And tomorrow.
Saturday, too, I think.
And Saturday.
And Saturday.
And Saturday.
32, 27.
All right, Teddy, let's take a break. We'll be right back. You'll listen to the wrap-up show on Howard 100 and Howard 101.